Welcome to Between X and Z with Wallace and Dozer. This is episode number 12. We're going to call this Back at It. Now, as always, we're very active on Twitter, social media. Hit us up. Follow us, please. Let us know what you think. Hey, you guys suck. You guys are awesome. We want to hear about this topic. I don't agree with you about that topic. And comment. Find us on iTunes. We're always there. Let us know what you think. Let's get it. There we go. Welcome to the show. I am Wallace.
And I'm Dozer. What's going on?
A lot. We are officially back at it.
We're back, baby.
Back at it.
We're back.
You know, it feels good because I was just thinking, like, you know, breaks are good. And there's been a lot going on. My life, your life, everyone's lives, United States' life. Like, it was good to kind of recharge the batteries.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we've been off for about a month now.
About a month, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there were some reasons for that. Moving, it's kind of, you know, for you moving and just life and kind of randomly catching it. But, you know, we're back at it. We're back on the saddle, getting back on this thing and hopefully producing a little bit more episodes here. You're
coming out a little bit hotter this time because, you know, I had to, as they call it, take one step back to go two steps forward because it's just my job's starting to change in a good way. I'm picking up more. I'm growing more, so to speak, in my job, and sports are still good. I'm in the playoffs for my beer league, and like it's just fun for hockey. And you know, I'm hitting the gym. Everything's good. It's just as far as kind of my search for climbing the hills and all that.
Yeah.
You know, I took a rest. You watch a climber on a hill, and they hook the things in. They set up the little tent on there, and everybody has to rest.
And two, you were climbing a hill that you really haven't climbed before. You know, moving and
that was an obstacle.
And yeah, moving. You know, relatively fast and
yeah.
You know, but yeah, no, it's climbing the hill is what we do. And you know, the good thing is we were still climbing, right? Like
we didn't go downhill.
No, we didn't give up, go downhill. We didn't leave everyone. Some of you probably hoping we were leaving, but
shut those guys up.
Yeah, we haven't.
Bill Hicks.
We haven't been leaving, but we got a lot kind of to just unload and unwrap and update on. You know, I'm still doing the ketosis diet.
Yeah, and I'm still off of it, and I think it's worked out better for both.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just body type thing.
So if we get back into the dieting aspect, so, you know, dieting is one thing. Like, people judge you on your car. You know, if they can't even maintain their car, what kind of job or manager will they be? Same thing with the body, right? Like, you look at people that are, I don't know, that work in the field of physical therapy and all that. Their business card is their body. So you have undergone a massive fucking change in a month.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been on it?
About 2 months now.
Okay.
About 2 months now, yeah, because I started it, you know, beginning of February.
We started it together, same time.
Yeah.
And, I started about a week or so before you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, it was awesome. I just lost too much weight too fast. And I was already pretty thin at the time, or lean, I want to say. Not I was cut, no, but I had stuff I needed to lose from the diet, you know. Talk about Thanksgiving shock. I had Thanksgiving diet shock because it just was cheating.
Well, and I've lost, you know, I've just been kept doing it. You know, I actually had a goal and I passed that goal. And then,
did you?
Yeah, now
my goal was like 6 pounds and I went in 7 within a week.
My goal was 15 and I'm at 25.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean.
That's amazing.
It's, you know what's crazy about this diet though? I've been talking to everyone.
Everyone's interested because it's hot.
Well, everyone's interested too, you know, at least that I know that, you know, talks to me is they're just like there was a period where people were like, wow, man, you've been losing weight. Like you, like, you know, guys I haven't seen for a little bit, like something looks different with you. It looks like you lost weight. And I'm like, yeah, I've been on a diet. And then of course, when you spark that,
you know what that reminds me of? You ever watch The King of Queens?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he starts losing weight and like she has a picture of him on the refrigerator of him in like his college days playing whatever sport?
Oh yeah.
And he starts getting hit on, and then she doesn't like it, so she wants him to get off of
it. Well, you know, though, it sparks an interesting question because the one thing I've realized about the keto diet is most people have no fucking clue of what the hell it is. And then the people that you explain it to, if they're not doing it, they still don't understand it because they're just kind of like,
too
wait
much.
a minute, you're eating fat Like what's going? Like that can't be healthy. That shit can't be right.
Cholesterol is going to be high.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and they just don't get it. It's like that's also the struggle with it.
What
makes it? I think the fact that people I don't think people realize how hard it is to actually minimize carbohydrates.
You know what it is, and we've talked about this a little bit. It goes back to that basic discipline. It's you have to prep, and you have to know if you go out, if you're at work, if you have to bring shit with you, or if you're on the road, how are you going to find that?
Let me tell you though, for the last month, I have not really been prepping as well as I should have.
Are you in more like the autopilot mode though?
Kind of, yeah. I understand what I can and can't eat.
Cool.
But I haven't been prepping. I've been caught at restaurants a few times. I've been caught at a few places.
Was paparazzi catching you? Yeah, is that Dozer? Get him.
But it's like I've been caught at places where it's like, oh fuck, man. Like,
and you're not gonna not eat, and you're out, and it's a nice ambiance.
And I've cheated on this, which I've heard some bad things about. But the thing for me is, there's a lot of things, and I don't want to take the whole time up talking about the diet, but it has been an update, because I think I now look at
if you really think about this. Fucking think about this for a second. There are people that do the starving diets. They do the Manhattan Beach or whatever the fuck it was called, the Miami Beach diet, South Beach diet, where they drink a liquid for 3 days and they lose like quick 6 pounds. Usually it's water weight.
It's water weight.
That's fucking great because their stomach muscles.
Yeah, it's all water weight.
No, you have actually done a diet with discipline where within 2 months, fuck it, cheat days are fine because you know what? You talk about the refuels, the people that are bodybuilding and using keto as their diet to cut down. They have the refuel days. So in a way, it wasn't that bad. But think about the accomplishment. 25 pounds in 2 months as compared to the people that will yo-yo diet on some garbage shit.
Well, I think the thing is, though, is this would be my message to a lot of people. It is not that confusing.
No.
People seem to think that, and it's. I would also even step it up and say it's not that difficult. I am not an incredibly disciplined person when it comes to a diet. I've been on a lot of diets, and I'll throw out a guy that I know, George Lockhart. He does a great diet. Well, he's a UFC nutritionist. He's
I've heard the name now.
He's actually Conor McGregor's nutritionist. Cool. I knew him from the Marine Corps. I mean, I'm not best friends with him, but he has a site, Fitness VT, and it's a good site. It's a good diet. It's very restrictive. It's
what's restrictive? Just the carbs or the refined shit?
It's a lot of the same thing, which is the keto, which is any diet, right? Like, there's only a certain amount of shit you can eat, so eat that shit. But what the problem is there was that starvation factor, and I'm telling you,
on that diet,
yes, on his diet,
okay.
I'm really though. If you think about this, on any diet, but I do not believe that the keto diet has been a starvation factor for me at all. Because
do you still get those random hits of like, for me, I felt like I was kind of withering away because I was losing it very fast, and I followed it to a T, and I felt starved at some points because my body was just hitting it. But
you were
gear.
On it what, 2 weeks, 10 days?
No, it was about a month.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's times where
maybe 3 weeks actually, but either way, it was a good amount of time where I got into it pretty fast, 5 days. And then I shot off like a rocket within that week. I lost a lot, and then I started kind of coming out of it.
Well, listen, the beginning is a bitch.
Then I pulled the plug.
I don't want to fucking lie to anyone. The beginning is a bitch.
Keto flu is real.
I've never been addicted to crack or anything, but it's probably like, to me,
withdrawal.
The food. Oh yeah,
it's
man.
withdrawal.
The food-wise of getting off of carbohydrates and sugar,
refined sugar,
is
especially
an absolute nightmare.
You crave it
for a couple days. Well, not only that, I wasn't looking at like food or something and being like, oh my God, I want that. I just felt like shit. They call that the keto flu.
It's a real.
Yeah, it definitely happens, but I wouldn't let that discourage people because the interesting thing about this diet is it's not a quick weight loss and then it stops if you continue.
Yeah.
It is rapid weight loss.
In all the right places.
In all the right places.
One's just the water weight.
Well, because those carbs kind of fill you up in these places that are unnecessary. And some people might say, well, that's a fad diet. You get off of it. The second you get off of it, you'll be doing it. But here's the interesting thing that at least I have felt, and I'm from reading a lot of forums and stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard it. It has kind of changed the way I look at food. And I would say I wasn't a dumb guy before.
How long did that take to change perception?
A month. Yeah, probably a solid, maybe even less than, maybe after the initial couple weeks,
Do you feel that that is a deconditioning of how you've been kind of raised to eat? Not you, your parents, or anybody.
No, it's
I'm
everyone.
talking
It's
like just in society.
Listen,
I was to the store.
Every time I talk to someone about this.
Yeah.
And then they start peeking in their head like, wait a minute, what are you talking about with carbs? Okay. I said, just look at the back of something. Look at the back of anything you eat,
Look at bananas
whether you
nutrition.
think it's healthy or not. Because that's another thing that fucks people up is we're not really talking about healthy. I think something just happened. Hang on here. We'll fix this if it's... No, it's still going. We're still going.
Cool. All right, a little technical
difficulties here. But
the computer's back at it too.
We're
folks.
back at it, baby. Yeah, this thing's been rusted in the studio here. But forgot where I was now.
You were talking about just looking in the back of a thing and just realizing what's in food.
So I always tell someone that. I say, take a look at what's in the back of things.
Look at the Oreos.
Well, that's where I was. That is something to me that really restricts people on this diet initially. Is they go, okay, healthy. This is healthy. And even the person that doesn't really know everything about nutrition knows what healthy food is, right? Salads, fruits, superfoods.
Yes.
Chicken, lean type of
turkey.
Yeah, shit
fish.
like that. People, that's basic now, right?
Yes.
On some level.
Even fast foods had to adapt to people realizing and waking up. Yes.
Fat-free is sugar-free
now
is something.
Real chicken.
Yeah. What the fuck was it before?
Real 100% white meat.
Yeah.
Thanks, McDonald's.
And so I think that's a barrier that everyone's kind of I had to break over too. I mean, I'm not a fucking nutritionist nor a nutrition expert, but I start to tell people now, I say, look at the back of something. Because, I was in a conversation with someone and they were like, well, I eat, this egg white breakfast sandwich, and it's 160 calories. I eat it every morning. I'm like, how many carbs are in that? Let's just take a look at that
sandwich.
Yeah, 64 grams.
100% wheat, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking. It's right, and it's egg
7
whites,
grain.
guys. It's egg whites.
Yeah, we're good,
and it's like
there's mayonnaise on it, but we're good.
Yeah, it's all right. And so they look at 160 calories, which is. Dude, that's what I was doing before, unless I was on a very restrictive diet. A lot of you just look at calories.
Yeah.
But every person has been like, holy shit, man.
You know what this is?
I looked at this.
Fucking awesome. So not to steer this, but what I'm going with this is, getting kind of quasi sick is what I'll say, and realizing that I had to not even look at the back of a nutrition label, but looking at fucking how food is prepped. Looking at fast food, this year is the 10th year that I haven't had McDonald's.
Wow.
2007, I remember it. April 2007 was the last time I had it because I was going to the Caribbean and I had a number 2 cheeseburgers and some other shit. And what you went through, what you're going through is, I'm not saying it was because you were sick or anything. It's just you go through this transition where it's beyond the fad, right? And I equate this to like when you live in another country and you're beyond the tourist phase and you're like, okay, I'm here. Here I am. You're now beyond like, oh, this is my diet. No, it's not another week. You went past your own fucking goal because of how much of a change your mind went through perception, which is amazing. And now you're starting to like a boat, you're spreading this wake and people see it. You could see the physical features on you. Like, it's ridiculous how much 25 pounds in the right places comes off your body.
I do feel mentally sharper.
Yes.
I definitely do feel, I don't feel lethargic. Now, there are times where, we talked about kind of being hungry.
Yes.
I don't notice that in the aspect of, like, if you were eating a cheeseburger in front of me and I was, let's just say, hungry or, hangry or whatever the fuck they call it. I wouldn't be like, oh, I need to eat that burger. I would be like, oh my, like I just don't feel very good. Like, I need food. So I've been telling everyone, because this is truly how I felt.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm operating a car.
I was just going to say
and the car is running on low gasoline, but high octane oil.
Yeah.
High octane oil. So that motherfucker's like a race car, but we're just filling it up with the shit. We're keeping everything clean.
Yeah.
And we're filling it up. And don't get me wrong, the filling it up very little gets annoying. It does get annoying because you go to a dinner, you go to a party. I'll tell you, I traveled.
Yeah.
And, I cheated once. Mainly, no, not because I was put in a weird position. Truthfully, I just was like, I haven't cheated in a little bit.
Vacation.
I'm going to cheat. Yeah, it was a vacation.
You've earned it, whatever.
I had one meal. This is something interesting, too, for me. And I actually haven't read about this, and I'm curious, to see if other people have had this. When I cheat, it is very difficult for me to eat anything the next day. Not because I'm like, I'm starving myself, but because my body is like, what in the fuck did you just do? It just it's that shock.
You know what it is, man? It's fucking, you put the wrong gasoline in that car.
That's exactly right.
And it's like, okay, you know what? We're going to handle this for a second. We're going to, same thing with when I got sick, like quasi sick, you realize what went in and got you sick and irritated yourself. And then you cut off until that thing is officially out of your system. And then you can reevaluate what went on and then fucking move on. So all it is your body's cleansing itself. This is the most amazing thing that I'm now kind of getting at, is what people lose sight of. And I always say I wanted to write this book, The Mind is Winning, meaning we're just losing in touch with our bodies, right? And anybody that gets in touch with mindfulness and yoga and kind of like eating right and working out, that fucking symmetry, that syncing of your mind and body, you have that again. And that's the coolest part, is you're listening to it and you know exactly, like you said, you don't even have to prep anymore because you know what's going to work, what's not going to work. And your own body will shut it off and go, you ate that? We're done for a day.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Think about that for a second.
Oh, no, it is awesome.
No,
it's real
Think about
awesome.
how many people don't have that. They've never had that. They've grown up eating shit with their parents. They've grown up eating shit in high school, college, and then they become parents, and now their kids eat like shit. Like, imagine the cycles of people that will never feel what you feel right now.
No,
that's a big hill.
I think what's really interesting to me is, maybe a listener might say, well, I can't do it. And I'm not going to make this into a motivation. Well, I'm not going to make this into a motivation. Well, I'm just saying, like, I went into this saying I'm going to do it for a couple weeks.
I remember you said like maybe a month.
And I remember the first 2 weekends were really difficult.
Were they? It took a while for you to kick in, if I remember correct.
Well, I got in, but again, it's not hungry. I was irritated. I was constantly like...
That's withdrawal still.
Yeah, it's withdrawal, definitely. Yeah. And not eating things that you can eat. I think a huge thing with diets that a lot of people don't talk about, it's like people quitting smoking. Mm-hmm. A lot of people struggle with, of course, the nicotine. But you know what they struggle with, though? You know what they really struggle with? Is like routine. The social and routine about it. Yeah. And that's what I was struggling with. I wasn't really struggling with
that's a good point,
a food withdrawal. I was struggling with, okay, everyone else is eating. I got to eat.
It's like somebody at a party. If you go to a mixer or a party, or I was at something last night, and
let's eat the whole chips and dip.
Not even that, but you have to have something in your hand. It's awkward not to have something in your hand. It's that social aspect of we're all drinking, whether it's under 21's lemonade or this side had the wine or whatever it was. And hey, it's you're still part of this tribe. We talk about we're past the tribes. I get it, but you still have that weird mentality. And there's a big party. Breaking bread. Those kind of phrases that talk about how important the meal is, because not only and back in the day we didn't know if we were going to live tomorrow, let alone live that night. And eating is still a big deal.
Well, we're fortunate. We're fortunate to have food and have food at ready. And people...
Quality food, too.
The thing, too, is you'll find when you're on the diet, no one else is on this fucking diet. Like, rarely is...
Yeah, what is it called again?
Well, people... Too, they might be on a diet. Mm-hmm. But that's the unhealthy, healthy thing. You got to kind of eliminate unhealthy, healthy, because salads... I can't have some... There's a lot of salads I can't have.
I still love spinach, and I eat spinach all the time.
I mean, and for me on the keto diet, it's like... Well, how many carbs did I have?
Yeah.
Well, because if I have this salad with tomatoes, and people are like, "You should be able to eat it, bro. It's fucking, it's healthy.
Nature.
It's salad," and it's like you're not understanding this. This is an algorithm within your body, and it's restricting something and getting something else.
You know what's crazy about this, and my lady talks about this all the time with her gym, is that her gym leader doesn't look as food like are you saying it's getting boring? He's beyond that to where he said, like, it's the guy that runs it. He says that food is only fuel. That is it. It's only fuel. So as you talk about, like, it's the algorithm. That is 100% his belief. And
is he single?
No, because this is the funny part. So he just started dating another girl who turns out to be...
Oh, he's dating. He's okay.
I think he's married now. So They both
Kids?
run the gym. No kids yet. So
Okay.
here's the funny part. He just had ice cream for the first time in like 10 plus years because he never. But his wife wanted to have it, and she's like, "If you don't have ice cream, we have a problem." And he finally tried it and made a fuss about it at the gym. And my lady laughed because it's like, I think you have to have. I think what showed, beyond the science, beyond the cool symmetry that you have now with your body and your mind, is, you do need to. It is nice to be social. It is nice to have that balance. And and it doesn't mean you have to cheat bad. If you cheat, we were talking about this before the podcast. What are you gonna have if you cheat now? Like, what's real bad?
Yeah,
fruit
I might have
shit.
some fruit. And
That's not
the
even
cheats
cheating.
I've had. The cheats I've had. Went to a restaurant on Valentine's Day. Really at the beginning. That was around 2 weeks in.
And you were looking forward to that guy.
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah, I would have too.
But see, that's the interesting thing, and I don't know, and I'm sure someone could tell me about the science of getting on and off, on and off, on and off.
It's
the interesting thing to me,
cyclical ketosis, basically.
yeah, and I don't get on and off all the time, but
There's not a lot of research on it though right now.
yeah, and I'm sure I've heard some things about your heart being a problem or some other things.
Palpitations and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
But the point of the matter is the why I say it's changed food for me is because listen, I think the guy at the gym, that's a little crazy.
That's very radical.
It's very radical. Like there's a part of me that kind of wishes I could do that, and that's great. Like he has that discipline, but at the same time, ice cream's fucking delicious.
And if he croaked in 2 weeks, hopefully, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah,
Like,
he's missed out on a bunch of food. Is beautiful.
That's why you have
food
a palate.
Yeah,
in your
food is a
tongue and-
great thing. Now the problem is we have luxuries at every turn we do. We go to a restaurant, we go to a cafe, we go to our
You're
own
just getting
fridge.
gasoline, and there's a goddamn
There's
fucking
a
store right
fucking
there.
ice cream. Here's here's some candy
Hot
bars.
dog. What was
Yeah.
what were those commercials with the AM PM? Too much good stuff.
You know what that reminds me of?
Get what?
You know what I can't stand? These fucking Sonic commercials with those two guys.
The ball guy and
Could
the
they
other
not?
guy.
You know the reality of that commercial is those are 300-pound guys. They eat there every fucking day. These two. These would be 300-pound
they got
dudes.
hot dogs and chili on top and like
Instead,
sodas and
these
shit.
dudes look like they're vegans.
They
I mean,
was
it's
very
fuck-
skinny.
It's
and-
fucking
and
shocking
pale.
to me. Yeah, they're dorky. I get it. They pick the dorkiest guys, but they're thin. I mean, like
They're
that's
supposed to
not.
be worse than
That's
your
false
average
advertising.
100%.
They should be 300 fucking pounds. Like we eat. Here's the tater tots. Here's the burgers.
Bring them
Like,
out to me. I
ooh,
can't even walk
yeah,
in the
another
restaurant.
shake. Like I hate that commercial. It just reminded me of that fucking AM PM commercial.
But that's how ludicrous food is in our society.
Yeah.
And how the governing body that's supposed to patrol this sucks ass too. Because once again, and you've made this point where an adult should be able to choose, but how are like Oreos legal? How are we supposed to poison people and then put them in the majority of these in the dense areas?
Here's the
of
thing:
poverty people?
poisoning is when they don't know.
Because then that helps the medical industry. That helps all these people that are going to be stuck in this vicious cycle of just shit.
Listen, though, this is gonna take us right off this.
Which is good. Let's
no,
start.
keto diet, because I got
we're
this.
back at it.
I got
We're
this
back at it,
story
baby.
from traveling.
Yeah.
Because it was an observation I had
Uh-huh.
that I think like everyone.
And where'd you go? The East Coast?
I went to the East Coast. I went to Florida to do some
And
fishing.
talk about obesity and some shit.
Talk
right?
about some rednecks where I was.
Really?
Holy shit, man.
My friend always says sunny weather, shady people.
Oh my God.
Is that true?
Whew.
I've been there twice in my life.
I mean, maybe not
Twice.
Miami, but
Well, that's just a fake scene.
Listen, I love Florida. They're very nice people.
Tampa seems nice.
But let me tell you, they live in some weird ass shit, man. There's some strange
Because
people.
it's still the South, right?
Oh, it's the South.
So I've been
man.
there. Yeah, I've only been like Orlando.
It's the South.
and, like,
Outside of the big cities, Orlando's a nice city.
It was cool.
But outside of the big cities,
Yeah.
ooh, you got some people that hunt gators and ate them gators, and I mean the accent's deep. But this is where I was getting at. Like how are Oreos legal?
Sure.
Everyone should just kind of come together and help each other. Here's the fucking problem: we can't even get off a fucking plane without chaos. Like this is the thing. So let me. I flew. We can't work on anything together.
Yeah.
Like if you need that example, get on a damn airplane and watch the exit. The entrance. They fucking guide you along. Like now, Group 2, Group B. No,
1 through 30.
Yeah, 1 through 30 now boarding. People, women and children first, like the
Yes.
Titanic when you get on
Cocksucker
that.
segment.
Yeah, and all men last. But getting off the fucking plane. There's no order, right?
No, everyone is so anxious and getting ready to explode outside.
I flew on a fucking airline. This is just why people don't. You know how? Why can't we just come together and work and make? Because we're stupid people.
Sheep.
Yeah, we're retards that only care about ourselves. So we're fucking on this plane. Now, I flew Frontier Airline. Okay,
not the best, but it works.
Not the best. Dude, the worst.
It works.
Frontier used to be a decent company, and then these assholes, they're like, "Oh, it's $300 for a ticket," and you're like, "Great, that's
it's like hitchhiking in the airline."
Well, this is how these asshole companies start. They say $89 round trip, and you're like, "Dude, that's incredible."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Well, if you want oxygen, that's an extra $12. If you want a seat, that's an extra $24.
You want your seat cleaned?
Yeah. If you don't want dog shit in your seat and where you're sitting, that's
the
$50.
Old man threw up.
Yeah, that's $50. But so anyway, I paid. There's no first class. I wouldn't pay first class anyway. But I paid for the front row because
the first 8 or whatever.
I had a carry on.
Yep.
I was fucking front row.
Oh, sick. Yeah. Okay.
Had a carry on, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm fishing in Florida. I'm like, let me just grab out of this shit and go. So I'm sitting and I'm by the window. And this is the thing. People, they just don't get it, man. You wonder why do we have to have speed lights and fucking stop signs and shit? Because people are morons. Why doesn't the roundabout work in the United States? Because everyone thinks it's their fucking turn.
Yeah.
You always have these assholes at the back of the plane that, you picked seat 40, okay? Like fucking row 40. That ain't my fault, pal.
You're late, too.
That ain't my... Yeah, and you were late, and that ain't my fault.
Yep.
And your next flight's 10 minutes away. So you grab your bag, while they're like, board, we're now taxiing to the thing.
Please stay seated.
Yeah, please stay seated. This asshole grabs his bag, runs up to the front. And I'm like, I didn't say anything because I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But in my head, the whole circus is rolling. And I'm thinking, you fucking cocksucker. Are you serious? And then, what happens, though? There's not just one. It's not one asshole.
Because it's power in numbers.
It's 20 assholes.
Yes. Because they see it and they're like, I'm going to do it.
And everyone runs up there, and my bag's across the way, and they're, and it's really, at the same time, I get it, guys. You're thinking, well, can't you be patient too? I got it. I'm just saying.
You're a big shot in the first row, huh, buddy?
Listen, dude, I paid for it. I fucking paid.
Shit.
I paid for it for a reason, asshole.
That's the point of fucking paying for it.
Yeah, not it was $12. It wasn't like this crazy thing.
The $12. Why didn't they buy that? It's like,
well, the thing is, though, it just was a good reminder to me that anytime everyone says can't we just work together and all get along? No, because there's stupid fucking people in the world. Watch the exit of an airplane,
dude,
and you will notice that.
Watch the exit of an airplane in Asia. It is even worse.
Let me tell you something. I ain't going to be racist, but those people, I love them. They don't give a flying fuck.
That's what it is.
Who's in front of you.
There was no giving of a fuck. India was the worst place I've ever been for that. Granted, 1.6 bill or 1.2, whatever it is.
Because Indians just don't even notice you there.
Space. No, there was a guy almost fucking shaving on top of me, in lines. It is awful.
Shouldn't have been standing there, you thought.
I was waiting in the next line. Just
the
what
fuck
it was.
You standing there for,
but
Wallace?
Even going through Vietnam. Vietnam, we were just watching people get up literally 10 seconds after our wheels touch ground.
Oh my god!
Not even giving a fuck, and they're whatever that language was. And they were just look at him.
I'm gonna get torn alive.
They were looking back at him, and nothing happened.
No,
nobody cared.
No.
So then everybody starts doing it because 2 fucking assholes got up and started doing it, and then you get the lady on the speakerphone blaring out Vietnamese, and nobody just looked at her. And what is she gonna do? Is the pilot going to stop the plane and turn it around? No. Now we're stuck behind all these people that got up. Our bags are this way. It's the same situation. It's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe people are just...
No, they're just...
Rules are good, and I don't envy people that are socially... have to do crowds, concert stuff.
Like control people?
It was really gnarly in Singapore when I was there for New Year's Eve with my buddy. And I've never seen such good crowd control. I think it's because the people are feeling oppressed. This is a place where
afraid of death.
Yeah, because if you chew gum on the metro, it's $200.
Chew gum?
Mm-hmm. If you have gum in your mouth, if you have an open water, you can buy water from the store, like a bottle of water.
What are you in for?
If
open
it's
cracked?
Water? No, but dude, that's the place where remember Bill Clinton went and got the guys caning for graffiti from 30 to 15 in the 90s.
I don't remember that.
It was in Singapore, so it's a super strict oasis of Asia in this really nice area. There's English as the national language, one of them, and super clean, big airport, money, casinos, all that good stuff. But I've never seen such order when it came to crowd control, and it was nuts. I felt very trapped, and we were like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. So it's almost a human instinct thing that people are going through, you know. But like, at one point, people do need to realize and be aware that, yeah, we can't always all get along, but there has to be order somewhere, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, but the thing is you can never get people to agree. That's the
problem.
That's kind
That
of
is
my
the
thing,
problem.
right? Like,
yeah.
You start to talk about order, and then it's like, well, wait a minute. I think this is the way order should be. I think this is the way order should be. It's like, you know, I'm not saying that these things should. Exiting a plane is, of course, a weird, silly example, but
It's a great example.
I just was thinking that, and I'm thinking, you know, I really wasn't angry. I didn't really care, but I'm just sitting there going, this. It's almost like you ever heard that. This is why we can't have nice things.
Here's another. No, that's the
this
same
is
thing.
why.
Here's another asshole. We were late on our trip to go to Korea because of a delay at an airport. Not our fault. We were an hour and 10 minutes late. We were there on time. There's supposed to be a 3-hour fucking layover. We were running. We were waiting for this bus to take us to the international section. This lady stops at the door, puts her bag on the ground, and starts digging through her bag.
Oh, yeah.
And I yelled.
The worst
my lady
of human
yelled,
beings.
And she gets on and goes, says something rude to this other girl who she thought yelled it. And it was just like, we're all in the same, like, we're going to be late too because of you. You're late too. Are you fucking stupid?
Listen, I have a solve for this. I have another story, a TSA story. Because let me tell you something.
Could you imagine working for TSA? Think about that for a second.
I'd fucking kill myself.
I would jump off the hill. I'm not climbing the hill anymore.
First of all, I'd kill everyone around me because TSA must hire. There's some good ones, but TSA must hire. Like, are you depressed? Yes, we'll take it.
I hate to bring this up. Have you seen the South Park when they make fun of TSA?
Mm-mm.
It was only like 3 years ago. It's brilliant because they link it into like toilets. So they basically do the old age battle of leaving the toilet seat up as a male and a woman saying, well, can't you just take the 2 seconds to put it down? Well, can't you just take the 2 seconds to put it up? So then they bring the TSA in to start monitoring people's toilet seats. It's so fucking funny because she's like, there's like they have ghettofied workers. And they're always like, turn around, sir. I need to check your asshole. And then they keep, it's so funny, dude.
South Park again on point. So I'm sitting in Orlando leaving. It's me and my brother.
Sure.
We're leaving. We just ate some breakfast right across the line.
Do you have egg whites?
Fuck no. I had eggs and bacon, baby.
Ketosis.
Eggs. 5 eggs.
Did
and
you?
Some bacon. Hell yeah.
I ate 4 eggs a day.
Because that, you know, I didn't eat that much that next day. But anyway, so I'm sitting there. The line wasn't too bad. The line was busy. All of a sudden, the line just got busy. Like fucking 400 people just came in that bitch.
So you're at the restaurant?
We were at a restaurant where we could see the line, right?
Gotcha.
And all of a sudden, this line gets huge.
Ugh.
And we just finished our meal, and we're headed into the line. And there's this little Asian TSA lady, which, by the way, if you fucking travel and you don't know what I'm about to say, do not travel. No liquid, no this, take it. Like,
shoes,
she's
belts.
Like, come on. I mean, are we
elementary?
There should be a fucking line of people that have never traveled before and never heard that spiel.
It's like the one telling you to buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah, it's like, please buckle you. Sir, is your seatbelt?
Put it into
cross-checking. Like, shut the... I'm not a... First of all, don't even get me started on that. I'm going to riff on that. What is that goddamn seatbelt going to do? Maybe I don't bump my head? This plane goes down, I'm fucked. That seatbelt's never saving. Like, this is a dumb thing. Like, that's a federal law to have a seatbelt.
Yeah.
If I'm dumb enough...
Is it a federal law?
Yeah, that's what they say, at least. But anyway, so I'm in TSA. Is it?
I'm going to look it up while you go.
I think so. So this little Asian lady's yelling this shit, and the line's going real slow. And all of a sudden, I called him Terry Tate. You know who Terry Tate is?
Big boy.
Office linebacker.
He's hilarious.
But this black, bald, authority figure TSA dude starts coming out, and he goes, boarding passes, let's go.
He knows the drill.
Dude, I'm telling you, there was a number up here. It said 25 minutes, the line. That bitch... in 2 seconds went down to like 18.
That's an organized guy.
This
That's
dude.
Awesome.
Well, I just had this whole experience. Like Terry was in it, you know, he was in his bathroom taking a shit. He took a 5-minute break because this is the only guy at TSA that could ever handle this shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, God damn it, Deborah. The line's 25 minutes. Throws his newspaper down.
No.
Terry Tates these fucking people. And the whole line changes. But like, it just shows you, though, too, like it was amazing to me because you almost need that guy. Terry Tate's a funny thing.
Yes.
But that you almost need that in the world.
You definitely
need someone to
It's
just
like a good coach that yells at you, or
Yeah.
like you just need that. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
Did you eat her food? You know that one where
she was a doormat. People were like not caring, and the big fucking
Terry Tate
authoritative figure gets in there and just
took care of it,
rocks
man. He was hooking and jabbing, fighting and stabbing, grabbing motherfuckers, and dude, the line moved.
Yeah,
and it was just amazing.
Oh yeah,
and but I was dying laughing. And I just said, look at this Terry Tate motherfucker just controlled this line. But that's the thing. You know why? Because people will bitch about the line, but they are stupid.
Yes.
At the same time, it's like, well, do I need my belt off? Like, shoes?
Honey.
Yeah, honey, we need to take our belts off. Like,
Can
I finish this water?
Think about
like,
9/11. That was 16 years ago. It is amazing to think about that. But that changed the airline industry forever. Forever.
Yeah.
This is not news. Traveling. I mean, it probably sounds like we're bitching a lot about this.
Well, we are.
But at the same time,
okay.
We're hill climbers and we're trying to get better as we go. And if you fucking had a bad travel trip, then fucking think about it. Redo
and this
your,
is
your
the
luggage,
fucking update.
and get back in
and
there.
This is the shit that just happened to me.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's ridiculous, the human beings.
It is crazy because then you think about like the older you get, we always talk about getting better at things and trying to get smarter. And I'm really catching fire again as far as in my career and trying to just get better at what I'm doing. And I'm starting to branch out as I talked about. And I just think like, what are you doing if you're not getting better? Are you're just okay with like, it's like the Joe Rogan skit or joke where he always talks about, people coming from Europe and then getting into New York and then moving out west, and then all of a sudden they just stop in like Kansas City and they're like, we're good here. We're not moving on even. No, we're good. We're good. They just stop, you just give up. Is that what you do when you hit like 32 and you're just like, I don't need to learn anymore. I'm good. We're all good here.
I don't even know if it's 32, man. I mean,
after high school for some people.
This is the funny
and
thing.
It's not being rude.
You ever heard of sondering?
No.
It's an interesting term. It's where like you just all the people you see when you're driving your car.
Yes,
all the people you see, they have families and connections,
and their lives and
their friends,
aspirations.
They're just like you. I mean, it will really blow your fucking mind away.
But do you think that's connecting into like the hive mentality where you realize we are a hive? We are. Every human is the same fucking thing. We have the same dreams, the same nocturnal twitches when you twitch at night before you go to bed, coming from the days we were in the trees. It's still in your membranes.
We do, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking. What's crazy to me though is, what's even crazier than sondering? How much when you're not thinking, you don't give a flying fuck about anyone around you.
Oh, that is weird. But like, look at if you watch ants and you watch bees and you kind of watch any other species, it's so weird. That's sondering to me, because then I start evaluating our species, and then you zoom out of a fucking city, and it looks like an ant
conscious
farm.
Man. But is an ant conscious in his own world?
They're chasing the same lady we are.
Take this, man.
They're chasing the same queen. Are they not?
Woman with the big old ass.
And then a queen bee, too. Think about it. It's all about the queen and getting that honey. We're getting that money.
Well, women control the world, man. That's for certain.
That is very true. They giveth and they taketh.
Yeah, but it's, that sondering shit always fucks me up because...
Did you sonder in the airplane when people were going crazy?
I sondered at the airport, the airplane.
Oh, so people watching does that to you.
That's sondering, though.
Yeah,
but people watching's like, sometimes people watching's like, look at that idiot. Look at that person.
Well, you can get like meditative with that, too. It's like when
you start to think like, I start to think, what does that guy do for a living?
How's his connection with his like daughter? Or
where is he going? Because that's another thing about the airport. You would think everyone was going to a funeral.
Oof.
But they're flying.
It's miserable, yeah.
They're fucking flying somewhere. Like, how amazing. It's something that took like years or months before. They're doing it in a matter of hours. Yet, guess what? Still bitching.
Think about this. We could go to a bar, get loaded, get on a plane, 4 hours. We're somewhere that used to take people forever.
If money was no object, you could be anywhere. Really, though, not even... You could fucking go right now to some crazy-ass place far in the world that would have...
Let's go to Burning Man.
You would have had to take a boat.
Yeah.
That would have taken you years to get to.
With disease and issues with storms.
I think Louis C.K. has a joke about this.
Does he?
Yeah, like, just like... Basically, he talks. I think he talks about like the price of a stamp. How people complain, oh, the stamp went up.
49 cents
Yeah, the stamp.
now.
He's like, it gets from here to across the country on a stamp. Like, what in the world are you bitching about?
That's a good point.
You couldn't do it for fucking 49 cents.
No.
You know, and it's kind of the same thing. He has something, too, with an airplane where it's like, you flew. Like, what the hell?
You time travel. Like, Jason Silva got gnarly into that. I watched some of his, like, live Facebook at one point, and he just talks about it's essentially your time traveling. Terrence McKenna, I think he taps into a little McKenna's, which is cool, is you're in this fucking culture, and then you're in this new culture, and all of a sudden, when he talks about traveling being one of the biggest psychedelics humans can do, that's what it is. You wake up, you get off the plane. I remember when you get off the plane in, like, France, where you could still smoke in the airports and shit, and you were just in another fucking world.
Well, that's what's amazing.
So
that is
weird.
what's amazing about travel.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes I'll drive in my car, and I'll just think, like, you know, this feels home to me. Everyone's home feels home.
Sure.
And it's like, there's some people here that are thinking the same exact thing about, like, when I go to Florida. Like, I mean, it's really, what the fuck am I doing wasting my time thinking about this? But sometimes that's really, that's really actually being present. Like, that's extreme presentness.
Very much so,
like, what in the hell? Like, I'm passing them just the way I pass someone in Florida.
And that's
like,
their route for the last 20 years or whatever.
Yeah, they've been living that life.
I think about that all the time. I love traveling because I love thinking about, I love hearing stories and seeing where people live. I heard a cool story about somebody going to, like, Amsterdam and randomly running into, they were traveling a little outside of it, and then running into a guy that ends up working on all the windmills. And he shows them, like, his whole life, and he's been doing it for 50-something years. And just stumbled across, spoke a perfect English, talked about it, was, like, showing him giving him the tour for, like, 3 hours on his own time, and then said, thank you, goodbye, and that was it. And then they left, and, like, what the fuck? Like, that guy grew up 50 years now doing this shit.
You know, this brings us kind of back to the initial thing you said, which was, like, you know, why are people stuck? You know what's interesting, though? It sounds like I hate people. I extremely love people. I find them to be so fascinating. I was, you know, actually at a meeting with this couple today, old couple, been married 48 years.
Dang.
Like, fucking yin and yang, though, man. Like, just the way they worked, the way their house was. I met them at their house. And it was just, you know, to me, they seemed like they had it all together. Everything was fine. So a little bit of the thing, like, why do people get stuck, is the human connection, to me, of seeing, like, we see the bad in a lot of people and also the good, right?
Yes.
Like, you see a movie star and you're like, oh, man, it must be the greatest life to live that way.
He's killing it.
But that movie star, unless he's an egomaniac, probably goes, you know, fuck, man, I got to get another movie. I got to do this. Like, he's got his own shit. So it's like, I think there's a lot of people that are stuck in the ruts, but then other parts of their life, they might not be stuck in the ruts. Or, you know, that it just fascinates me. And that I just had to bring that up because that was the initial thing you brought out. And it was like, you know, that's what's interesting about people is sometimes you look at someone, you go, oh, they got it all figured out. And then sometimes you look at people and you go, they got nothing figured out. But you actually don't know much. Like that guy that ran up on the airplane. He might be a fucking brilliant person, a great father, a multimillionaire, but somehow he didn't figure that you don't do that on a fucking airplane. So you just instantly think, oh, that guy's an asshole.
Right away, just done.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's got a lot to learn about life.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like,
this fucking guy.
This asshole over here. But, you know, it's just like one tiny aspect or a bad moment in his life. Maybe he was in a rush and he's fucking getting a divorce. Who knows?
Isn't that crazy? Like one bad day, you know, I love having bad days and bad trips or bad experiences on edible or whatever it is because it's such a good reminder that the boat, when you start rocking it again, you're like, oh, okay. You know, it's such a good, it's such I call it like a good equilibrium balancer because it's just, you know, like right now I'm doing pretty well. I feel good. This month off was great. You know, I can equate this to charging the batteries to just kind of taking the break, relaxing and realizing, you know, I didn't even appraise too much about where I've come and what I usually like to do. No, I just fucking
intellectualize is the word I like.
Yeah, it's a great word.
Overthink.
Yeah. And this one I didn't. I fucking zoned out and really just turned off the brain for a bit and it felt great because now I'm ready to just keep climbing. As that guy said, it's uphill, but I just keep climbing. That rang in my head in the last 2 weeks because we haven't done this in a while, and
there's been a lot of life shifts.
A lot of you for me, and it's great. It feels good to get back at it. It really does.
But what's interesting, is I'm sure everything wasn't perfect.
For me, no, I've had issues. Talk about growing in work, you have growing pains. There's a lot of shit. But what was really nice? That stuff you can kind of put on a different category. What I'm liking is I'm starting to kind of think about, bring myself back to what you just talked about, the more mindfulness and kind of more getting deeper into spirituality. We have a lot of good topics coming up.
Oh, for absolutely.
I feel like I'm getting deeper as I'm climbing now. And, with some birthdays coming up, and I love to appraise every year what I've come from, how do the seasons go, where do I want to go, and just kind of move on. Not like some corny-ass New Year's Eve resolution. No, I'm trying to just all right, let's evaluate, let's appraise. And so that's coming up soon. And
this sounds so cliche, but you can't get better if you're not noticing even the smallest things around you getting better.
Yep.
And or like the good things. And that's actually something that I really found out. I love fishing. People probably don't know that. I don't think I've talked about that on the podcast. Not that it really matters, but I do.
It's peaceful.
And one of the reasons I love fishing is its pure presentness. Yeah, you might be thinking about something else, but it's really hard to be irritated. And I know some people like fishing is the most boring shit in the world to me, but I'm just using that example for me. I'm not saying everyone should go out and do fishing.
Yeah.
But, some people ride bikes. Some people run. That's their thing.
You know what it is, man? And I told you I'm getting into it this year. That's good. You found flow state.
Yeah.
It's pure flow state because you're in tune with your surrounding. You're bringing yourself into it. You're doing the equilibrium thing, and you're doing a task, and you're trying to get better at it, and you are getting better at it, and you have the rewards that come out of it. So you were in a pure flow the entire weekend, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking awesome. Did time and space matter?
No.
Not even all. You didn't have to have any
you know
drugs
what's
on you.
You know what's even better about that?
You were in the moment.
The perspective that gives you on life is pretty fucking powerful.
Well, what's crazy is you always see pictures and movies, and it's always like a dad trying to just fish with his kid, right?
Yeah.
That's always like a weird moment that is annoying. The kid doesn't want to do it, and you realize like they're just trying to. In those movies, the dad's just trying to have a moment. That's all it is. It's your time. Your time with people.
Yeah.
I volunteered today, and I realized they talk about volunteering.
I didn't know you were better than me.
I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
I am not.
It was a perfect opportunity.
No, but they always talk about volunteering taps into the same dopamine receptor area that cocaine, does for you. So I felt that today, and it was really powerful. And I was just thinking, I was trying to get mindful and get in the moment and connect with everybody I was working with, and it was just funny because, during my break. I kind of took a little bit of time off of that, and now I'm trying to get back into that because it is hard. It's hard to be in the moment. It's hard to always try to think about things.
You ever heard of abundance versus scarcity?
No.
And I'm going to butcher this, but it's like a psychological term. I always say that because that's the disclaimer of my life. I'm going to butcher this.
Trigger warning?
Yeah, I'm going to butcher this. But basically the way I understand it is most people live in scarcity. When I heard this, I certainly felt like, oh yeah, I definitely
scarcity. Okay, explain.
So, for example, top things people worry about: money, friends, success, power, career, ego. You can call it ego, but in this term, they call it scarcity. It's you're constantly thinking that there's not enough of something, right? You're not as successful. You're not as good looking. You don't have friends. You don't have money. You don't
trying
have
to collect all the nuts like a squirrel.
And abundancy is a mindset kind of like, I can do whatever I actually want to do, right? Like there is enough money to make in the world. There is enough, and I'm not getting into this hoorah thing, but I'm just saying like, it was an interesting topic. Is like most people live in scarcity.
Yeah, you're right.
Versus abundance.
That's beautiful.
And it's
absolutely beautiful.
Well, I heard it, and I actually heard it today, and it kind of blew my mind because I feel that way with money, and that's what we're talking. That's really perspective, right? Like when you have perspective about your life or something, you're actually living in abundance. It's like, holy fuck, man.
I have a friend like that, man, and I gave advice to these younger kids. One wants to work in tourism and wants to live in Europe, and she studied abroad, and she you know, she's like 14 years younger than me, and she was like, I almost ripped up my ticket from Italy to come back home. And I was like, in my head, I was like, been there, done that. I bought a one-way ticket to Paris. Like, it was fun. But, you know, my advice was the same thing where you're talking about. What my friend told me at one point is like, I'm thinking of this girl, barely in her 20s. And I was like, well, you know, once you graduate at the end of this May, go fucking do something. He's like, well, no, I want to start like this in the program and maybe go get my master's. And I'm like, money can always be made. And then there's an adult in the room, and she tried to almost correct me, like, well, you sound like in a negative form. I was like, no, let me explain. I'm saying that if she goes and has an amazing experience for a year, goes and does a fucking yoga retreat in Thailand or whatever the hell it is, she comes back, she has the next 40 years to make money. That is more of the abundance type of thing. Is like, we don't have to make it all right now. We don't have to start our careers right now. We could just fucking take our time, you especially because you were younger for this girl. And she goes, yeah, that's a good point. And then the adult kind of like was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And I still think that's true, because maybe if you're 50, you can't be failing and making mistakes because there's bigger responsibilities and more repercussions. But even at starting to climb the hill, you're still okay.
Well, it just reminds me of I've read a lot of psychology stuff, and one of the things is, like, have you ever heard of the and what scenario?
And one?
And what? And one, yeah. No, but it's basically like, okay, tell me if you did that. If she went to Thailand, let's just use that example. What's the worst thing that would happen? Well, I'd not make money. And what? And I'd be broken. And what?
So it's like a child, like I did.
Well, but in a good way. It's not like I'm making it sound kind of like a dickhead is just answering your questions, but it's kind of like the things you're worrying about. It's like, okay, if that happened,
then what?
Then what?
I like that.
Yeah. And okay, well, then this would happen. Well, then what? Will I be fine? You know, like if it's a good scenario, you know, take like someone that's like alcoholic. All right, what would happen? Well, I drink myself to death. Okay, and then what? Well, I'd have no family and no friends, and okay,
people would miss me.
Maybe, and then what? Well, then maybe I'd die. Okay, well, maybe you should fucking stop drinking. You know, but like,
so it's a probing tool,
kind of,
in a good way.
And that's a bad, not a bad example, but that's an example, of someone with a habit.
Yeah.
But look at it as like, you know, money's a weird thing because I struggle with that one. I think people need to make money. People say money doesn't matter, but I look at this. Yeah, I mean, it fucking certainly does. Pay a mortgage and then tell me money doesn't matter.
Feed 2 children.
Yeah, right? Feed children. Feed yourself, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, piles of meat. But
that's so good.
Yeah, it is delicious, man. The fat.
I just miss I was eating a lot of bison.
Boy, we just shifted, but I love it.
Getting back at it, man. We're fucking all over the place.
Bison's delicious.
No, but keep going. That was good.
No, but it's anyway. I mean, it's just that interesting thing of what perspective is.
It's huge, man. It's fucking weird.
Because if you don't have a perspective, and most of the time, speaking for myself, I don't. You know, think about it. The guy in the airplane. That's really not perspective on my end. Right, like the guy
same for him though. He's not
exactly,
being mindful of his surroundings.
That was a more of an observation that I thought was funny and just silly. But you know, the real answer is what's present. I'm on a fucking airplane that I just flew to Florida to go fishing.
Yeah, that's
things crazy. Are pretty damn awesome.
It's awesome.
You know, like that is so people here that are in like a bad mood. Because when I'm in a bad mood, if that thought came into my head, I'd be like, "Fuck you." Don't tell me that shit. You know, like something bad happened to me or something perceived bad happened to me. I'd be like, you know, the hell with you.
Gotta stay with it, man.
But it is interesting. It is that abundancy versus scarcity, you know, and that present mindfulness.
So how do you switch that mindset over? You know, the cool thing is going back to perception and thinking of how you change perception with food. You know, you've really looked at it in a different way. There was something that made you click. What turned it over, right? Think about that. Like, is it just the deconditioning in your body finally adapted? Because we're adapting creatures, and your body's like, you know what? I'm not getting carbs. Fine, I'm going to go with the flow. You're going to just feed me this fat and meats and shit.
You know, truthfully, I think
what is the change?
I think for me, people call it discipline. I don't necessarily agree with that. For me, I think it was the and what. Honestly, and I didn't think about that at the time until now. But I kind of thought, to myself, okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, so I can either eat a milkshake or I can try to do this diet. And then I saw results on the diet, and then it's like, well, what happens? And maybe I'm changing the and what, but it was like, well, what happens if I continue this? You know, and now it's when I cheat, it's like, well, do you really need to do that? Because then, and what?
Yeah.
You know, and what? Well, you're not going to eat the next day. You're going to feel like shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't think that at the time, but the more we're talking here, that is probably the scenario.
So
it's
there
not
was
discipline.
a time and a place, though, and I think we can bring this back into mindfulness. Is people have to break out of that goddamn autopilot? You know, like the autopilot girl that was just letting people take forever in the airport, and then you got this guy that something. There was a fucking force. I keep snapping, but there's a force that came in and just crushed it. Right? It could be a psychedelic ego trip that kills your ego, and you realize something's changed. It could be getting sick. It could be, falling in love. There's always this, something that brings you back to reality and mindfulness. And it's hard to do because a lot of people don't want to challenge themselves. They want, if somebody passes away, they don't want to face the grieving period.
A lot of people, I don't.
I know, I'm selfish too.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I mean, it's
work. You know what it is? It's fucking work. It's
and when you're in a
point where you're just giving up. Kansas City, you stop. We're good here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where people just don't want to grow anymore and keep climbing. We're done. And abundance versus like, well, I might as well just continue on this route. Even if you're miserable as fuck at your job, they're still gonna keep doing it.
Well, I think because then habits form, and then also
that's your brain conditioning.
I was listening to a podcast, Joe Rogan, of course. I listened to others, but it was Joe Rogan and Sam Harris was on this one, and some other guy.
Didn't he just go on?
Dan Harris, yeah. But they were kind of talking about how everyone is stimulated. And, whether it's, some sort of pharmaceutical drug, which, hey, some people need that. That's okay, I think. Some people do.
I know.
They really do, and then, or it's caffeine, or it's alcohol, or it's drugs, or it's sex, or it's fucking, serious shit, or
say whatever floats your boat, right?
They talk about that. Food.
Yeah,
I mean, and you kind of you aren't really happy, but you kind of just conform, and can never get out of that.
That's
and you
give up phase.
You deal with it, but I think everyone is in that phase a lot in their life, right?
Yeah,
like where it's just kind of like, you know what, man, I can't do much, or shit's bad for me, or I don't want to fess up to the shit I actually did wrong, or the people. That's how resentment builds up, right? You're just blaming someone else for something.
Yeah, you're passing the buck.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Because I really don't want to deal with that right now. I don't really want to deal with what bothered me or what hurt me, and I think that's a lot of people.
Absolutely.
People say we live in an easier world, but I don't know, man.
It's a different world.
I've been reading this book. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called The Devil in the White City.
No.
I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but have you ever heard of H.H. Holmes?
No.
Like world's most renowned serial killer. He killed like 200 people or something, supposedly.
Yeah.
But during the World's Fair in Chicago.
Terrible.
In 1893 or something like that. He had a hotel called the Murder Hotel.
Yeah,
You've heard of this guy.
Yep.
Leonardo DiCaprio is actually going to play in this movie.
That's where I've heard of it.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a perfect character for it. This guy's a fucking psychopath, but that's not where I'm going.
Yeah.
Where I was going is like, this book is really great. It's like a fact crime book. I don't know how the hell I picked it up and read it, but I started reading it. Just some weird shit. But it was really fascinating because he talks a lot about the World's Fair. Mm-hmm. It's not just about this serial killer. But it was just like the way these people in 1893 lived.
God, the Industrial Revolution, man.
And they had their shit too. They had their stuff. They had all their problems too. Opium and fucking alcohol and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
That smoking for a pregnant woman. Shit that was just
factories that had no ventilations and
but they
everything.
And their life was harder on a lot of levels. Yeah. But I just kept thinking throughout this book, like, they didn't have a cell phone, man.
They didn't have stress.
Yeah, they didn't have stress. And then I was thinking about this guy H.H. Holmes. It's like, well, thank God there is some of these things, because this dude fucking just used like 20 aliases and fucking just murdered people, man.
It's crazy.
And manipulated people. But it where I'm going with that is it's like we live in a very difficult world. Sam Harris was saying this today, is we have information that can be wrong or information that can be right. Mm-hmm. But the line between those two is so damn thin.
I agree.
And that makes it very difficult to work in because you see others' success. You see others' failures.
And it's in your face, as with the...
It's right up in there. You see
social media, the Mercedes. And
you see the problems in the world. You see the problems in your own life.
But they always talk about that being a human survival mechanism because you're basically like, you're going to go back to that abundance and scarcity thing. You're like, oh, fuck, well, I need to get onto that. And it's kind of supposed to be a motivator for you to get to that status.
Well, think about what reality TV is. We laugh at those people, but the reality of it is a lot of times we are those people in certain scenarios.
And we don't want to watch ourselves, right?
Well, no, we don't want to look at ourselves. We want to look at other people and be like, look at that moron. Look at that slut. Look at that asshole. And the reality of it is a lot of times if you were in those shoes, that might be you too, man.
Of course.
You don't fucking know, but we like watching others, but we don't like looking at ourselves.
We're addicted to human drama because it's just...
because we are human drama.
We are human drama. It's the tribe shit, man.
Yeah, it's
one of my students works in a ritzy area in Colorado and talks about how much gossip there is and how awful it is. And at the same time, though, but like girls do that in campuses and guys do that with gyms and, like sports teams and shit. And it's just... It's weird, man. It's weird to get away from that because I'm now, hanging out with people that are kids that were born in late 90s and, thinking about me climbing this hill and being in a completely different mindset and thinking about where they're going to be in 5 years. Are they going to really matter? Is that girl that wants to go live in Europe and do all these things and me telling her she can make money later?
Your parents were right a lot, right? Like,
I think they are. Still,
on a lot of levels, where it's like, oh, I've seen this happen, and you're like, Dad, you don't understand me.
But that's what it is. It goes back to just fucking human experience and observation. That's why I love doing every year kind of an appraisal because it's like someone playing sports and you have this young gun that comes in and tries this fancy move where the old person have seen it about 8 million
times.
And
he just goes, bitch.
Bitch pokes it away, kicks it away, hits you or whatever it is, whatever sport. Same shit in life. Your parents have been there. It's like, you didn't understand.
Yeah.
You ever seen Hot Rod?
You don't get it.
Right? I need to go to my quiet space.
When you go to the forest and does that punching dance.
No, but it's funny because it's like, well, yeah, I was your age at one point. I get it. Love sucks. You broke up. You're not going to die. They give you great advice.
And what? Right?
And what? That is amazing. I love that shit, man. That is really cool. That's what you should probably do to children.
Well, but the problem is, man,
kids? I don't know
we're also humans of experience.
Yeah.
And we want to choose our own road and our own path and our own problems. And,
and
we think we think we have our own answers. And sometimes we do.
We want to take the road not traveled and we want to do our own thing. But
I mean, think about the guy that's his dad was an alcoholic and he becomes an alcoholic.
Ugh. Vicious cycle.
And some people, that's genetics, and I'm just using that as a basic
But it can be,
example.
it's hard. It's very hard to get away from. But yeah, it feels good to be back. That's all I keep saying.
Yeah, we better wrap this thing up here, too.
It's just good to be back because we're thinking about shit again. We're trying to be mindful, and hopefully you are too. Hopefully, if took the break, cool.
Yeah.
We're just trying to just...
And we're going to, this was kind of an open topic of we're back and we're updating, and we went off on a couple things, but... Yeah, we got some topics coming in that I think are going to be pretty cool and some interesting things going on in our lives and in the future. So, yeah, let's wrap this thing up, man. This is Between X and Z. I am Dozer.
This is Wallace.
See you guys.
Later.